There is a real danger that an all-out war could break out in the Middle East in the next few days. The world awaits Israel's next steps following the attack by Iran earlier this week. But for Israel, this will merely be an expansion of the wars it has been waging for a year now in Palestine and Lebanon. Iran says the barrage of missiles it fired at Israel was in response to that country's assassination of Hamas leader Ismael Haniya in Teheran, its invasion of Lebanon, and the killing of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. Today, however, I would like to focus on the one country in the world that can put a stop to any further escalation of this situation, the United States of America. You see, to look at the crisis there as a regional issue would be short-sighted because the one thing that determines what Israel does next is called American interests. Hello everyone, welcome back to Joe Talks Politics. I am your host, Joseph Musia. Please consider subscribing to my channel to enable me to continue bringing you my analysis of the political developments in South Africa, the continent, and the world. Let's get right into it. A war between Israel and Iran is not going to be in the interest of anyone, not the populations of the two countries, the region, or the world. The sad reality, however, is that Israel is likely to attack because, as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told the world a few weeks ago, his trigger finger is itchy.
I have a message for the tyrants of Tehran. If you strike us, we will strike you. There is no place. There is no place in Iran that the long arm of Israel cannot reach. And that's true of the entire Middle East. Far from being lambs led to the slaughter, Israel's soldiers have fought back with incredible courage and with heroic sacrifice. And I have another message for this assembly and for the world outside this hall. We are winning.
Now, we all remember that following Israel's assassination of Haniya, the United States sent military reinforcements to the region, including an aircraft carrier and ballistic missile defense-capable cruisers and destroyers, in anticipation that Iran was going to respond. This is in addition to 40,000 troops, aircraft squadrons, and 12 warships already in the Middle East. The United States' support for Israel is total and unconditional. So if Iran goes to war with Israel, it is in effect going to war with the United States.
Make no mistake, the United States is fully supportive of Israel.
We must remember that it is American bombs that Israel is using to kill thousands of Palestinians in Gaza every day. It is American weapons it is using to invade Lebanon, and it is American defense equipment that intercepted Iranian missiles as they were on their way to Israel. It is in this light that it is the United States that bears final responsibility for Israel's actions. A narrative is being depicted in Tel Aviv, Washington, and other Western capitals that Israel is an innocent victim of murderous gangs of Iranian surrogates aimed at its destruction. Its indiscriminate killing of over 40,000 Palestinian men, women, and children is explained away as self-defense because Hamas attacked it on October 7 last year. This is a classic case of gaslighting, as if the rest of us were not around before this date. Below I list at least 10 actions of the Israeli Defense Force in 2023 where Palestinians were murdered long before the Hamas attacks. Israeli forces conducted a raid in Nablus in February, resulting in the deaths of several Palestinian civilians. A major military operation in Jenin in March led to multiple fatalities among Palestinian civilians. In May, airstrikes in Gaza reported to target militants resulted in civilian casualties, including women and children. In April, during clashes in Bethlehem, Israeli troops shot and killed a Palestinian youth, prompting widespread protests. In June, an Israeli police operation in East Jerusalem led to the killing of a Palestinian man during clashes over a controversial site. In July, Israeli soldiers shot and killed several Palestinians during confrontations in Hebron, sparking outrage and protests. In August, a military raid in Ramallah resulted in the deaths of several civilians. During protests at the Gaza-Israel border in September, Israeli forces shot and killed several Palestinian demonstrators. It is not true, therefore, that Gaza was a peaceful settlement before the Hamas raid. Yet it is a repeated excuse of the American government that Israeli killings in Gaza are acts of self-defense. How is leveling whole buildings, some still with people inside, self-defense? So when Israel goes to war in a few days, the American government, the only institution in the world with real power to stop them, will once again tell the world that Israel is acting in self-defense. The Americans have already supplied them with the most sophisticated weapons to carry this out, and even more are on their way. And Israel can act with absolute sense of impunity because they have all the US firepower to repel any counterattack from Iran. The rest of the world will look on. The United Nations will call for restraint, but ordinary people in Iran, Israel, and the rest of the Middle East will pay with their lives. It is astonishing that the US, a country that goes around the world selling itself as a flag bearer of international morality, feigns paralysis when it comes to the actions of the bloodthirsty regime in Tel Aviv. This country, which promises to go to the ends of the world to act against anyone who harms its citizens, suffers from a sudden case of paralysis when Israel is the perpetrator. I'm talking here about journalist Shirin Abu Akleh, who was assassinated in broad daylight by the Israeli Defense Force while on assignment. The evidence is incontrovertible. She was a dual US-Palestinian citizen. Many more journalists, aid workers, including Americans, have been targeted and killed. In April of this year, an Israeli airstrike in Gaza killed 7 aid workers from the World Central Kitchen. 6 of the 7 were foreigners: Australian, British, Polish, Canadian, and US citizens. 1 was Palestinian. It is not clear to me what American interest is served by the spread of instability in the Middle East. It is not possible to kill the demand for a free Palestine. This is even if the US and Israel manage to get rid of the regime in Teheran, which is the stated aim of the Israeli government.
Nations of the world should support the brave people of Iran who want to rid themselves of this evil regime. Responsible governments should not only support Israel in rolling back Iran's aggression, they should join Israel. They should join Israel in stopping Iran's nuclear weapons program.
It is not too late for America to change course and end the bloodletting. But I'm not holding my breath. It is heartening to see, however, that our government has at least taken a stand on this matter. Yes, South Africa lacks the clout to stop a war breaking out in the Middle East. But when the final line is drawn under this chapter in history, we will be counted among those who did not look the other way. Once again, please consider subscribing to my channel, like the episode, and share it. See you in the next one.